We find ourselves at a time in between what was and what is becoming. In the sacred lands of Albion, Ireland, Scotland, England, and beyond, a symbol is reawakening for us to see the Vesica Piscis or Piscis, either way is acceptable. This is a sacred doorway of light. It's encoding and blossoming the primordial codes of origin. This is magic. And what is being revealed is the actual blueprint of how the divine creates through the sacred mother's womb. This awakening of magic, of sacred geometry, is coming through in crop circles, and I'm going to go deeper on some things that I've shared in a recent video. And what we are witnessing will change everything as far as trajectory and what is being restored and regenerated. The sacred code is about birthing, it's about evolving. What I see is this will be leading into the blossoming of the Trinity. And so if you are feeling intense activations lately, this would help explain why. These aren't just symbols, but are living codes that are activating in the architecture of Earth's light body, our bodies as well, given there is no separation at all. Stick with me throughout the end of this video, because throughout this we'll be weaving into all the ways that this is anchoring and what it means for this further blossoming of the Trinity that's going to be taking place. And that is exciting to see. If you've never watched a video before, hello, I'm Natalie Viglione. And if you've watched other videos, thank you so much for watching this one and for supporting me. I illuminate pathways to reclaim your creator-given birthright of clarity and vitality, which is truly the personal and unique gateway to crystal clear vision and truly authentic power. I have links below if you'd like to explore one-to-one sessions and other things that I offer. So if you're feeling called into this, and if your heart is really resonating with these frequencies, just know that you are part of the lineage that carry these codes. The sacred mother's womb and the emergence of what we could say is, and this is the lens that I'm seeing through, there's many ways to portray this, of course, but it's the divine feminine. It's the feminine aspect of what we could say Christ is. Christ consciousness and the feminine angling and birthing, because that is where balance is found. The diamond consciousness, something that I have talked about previously when I dove deep on the adamantine particles, which you can find resources held below. That diamond consciousness is literally in the particles that make us us, make human human. The Vesica Piscis, before it was called that name, which is a Latin name, this almond-shaped form was also known as mandorla, or also the ichthys. And so there are varying names that we can find attributing to this sacred geometric form throughout time. So in ancient texts from the Essenes, so this is where my whole world exploded when I got what you could say encoded with the blue ray of creation. The Essenes came through in such beautiful, amazing ways. Now, what I see in regard to the Essenes is there's also a lot of information that excludes the sisterhood. We know why. We don't need to go into the why on that. We know why. It talks about a brotherhood, but it was a brotherhood and a sisterhood. And those of you that feel this vibration know this also. The azure breath of the mother, when that is breathed into your being, that azure breath really is the blue ray of creation. And what happens is that it comes with a remembering. It comes from within. It comes with codes and archetypes of what is needed to rebuild and reclaim what once was. It is the 144,000 archetypes. Go into that some other time, but this is about the original creation. It's about origin. And when you first breathe deeply into your being, that oneness comes alive. And perhaps you can relate to this because it's something that you feel, and it's not something that is easily talked about because it's a feeling and a remembering. I have my personal story linked below if ever you'd like to learn more. But you know who you are when you're serving as this conduit of reclaiming of the mother aspect of all of creation. The divine feminine energy, the mother energy of the earth, of the cosmos, the blue flame, the blue ray, the azure breath, all connected. And this is a larger anchoring through a family lineage to assist with bringing the emergence of balance back, of restoring. And it was coded into our Living Light library. And this is being reclaimed and restored. We could say regenerated or recoded, lots of RE words, becoming wholesome within our own consciousness, as well as anchoring to assist the earth in this way. Truly, unity means restoration and balance. And through this rebalancing the sacred energies, once again, it really is about igniting this field of unity from within. And I've talked about this a lot in other videos. Again, this diamond consciousness, the adamantine particles crystallizing. And this is beginning to unfold so beautifully. We can actually see it happening with our own eyes. And I have a 3-part series on my Substack channel where I offer deeper teachings, insights, etc. And also on the Awakening Magick blog. These are linked below. Let's talk about the foundation of the Vesica Piscis, because this is the weaving that's happening literally in the sacred lands right in the Albion. And so we have this crop circle and the shape of two intersecting worlds, if we will. We could say heaven and earth. You can say spirit and matter, masculine, feminine, infinite creator, and human. So this Vesica Piscis, the Latin name, and it literally does mean fish bladder, but that almond-shaped sacred space is formed when two equal radius circles intersect each other. This is the sacred womb of creation. We could say it's a portal between worlds. It's a sacred space where dual forces unite to birth something entirely new. And in Dreamtime, years ago, I was gifted these sacred geometric visions and was taken through how the wombs of all the worlds connect. And it was through the sacred fish bladder, the ichthys, the mandorla, where all of these worlds connected. And this is happening once again. That is literally what's being course corrected, because they had to be disconnected when it was unsafe because of this hijacked inversion that we have seen happen in our world. So this is what's being course corrected. And I'm beginning to see through these crop circles that this is being activated now. So this dream was many years ago, and now it's being encoded in. The Earth's light body is being encoded with these original and organic creation codes once again. We can find references to this peppered throughout ancient art. Christ and Mary were often depicted with this almond-shaped light, and of course that wasn't by accident. But knowing the real reason of what that intersection really means, that's the beauty when we can connect into the spirit of what it means for rebirth from this sacred womb, the organic and original womb. It's really a portal of incarnation. And in a recent video that I put together, I discussed the Pendragon returning. This is all simultaneous. These visions and messages came clear through a comet that passed through. The video is called A Recent Comet's Message of Unity and the Return of Pendragon, so you can check that out. With the Pendragon returning, what this means is the creator dragons are returning. The golden dragon was the symbol of the ancient Arthur lineage, and through his divine union partner, Guinevere. Now, Pendragon was attributed to Uther, his father, but their flag or their symbology was a golden dragon. So a golden dragon is a solar dragon, which means a dragon of creation. Pendragon means chief dragon or head dragon. And why this is happening now is because the vitality of the earth is going to be restored. The organic and original blossoming of original codes can take place more and more because it's in a time that's very much needed to combat a very artificial and synthetic creation that's trying to rise faster and faster. The organic energies are rising faster and faster to ensure this inorganic timeline, the synthetic timeline, does not come to fruition. And that's something to know because it holds us and it anchors us in the reality of what's real, what's organic, what is true, not synthetic, and what is not true. And so Vesica Piscis coding is being corrected and it's blossoming, and the rose is the visual, is the vision and the message that comes with this. In 2021, I was shown that a lot of these sacred geometric codes were hijacked by the vile races of beings who do not want the freeing of this realm to take place. And so now is the time that this is to be restored and we can watch it in action, given that's what these crop circles are. We're seeing is the correct geometry blooming, rebirthing into the organic and what is the original creation aspects of those architectural codes. And that's why this crop circle is so exciting. And again, there's a lot more that have popped up. So there's a lot to explore here. Feeling into this symbol and geometry coming alive. It's that expansion, it's birthing, it's this blossoming. And from within the womb space, in the lines, what we can see is that we're seeing that expansion outwards. It's breaking what was keeping it in a dualistic component, breaking through to bring it through into its Trinity expression, which is the organic, it is the original expression that was always meant to take place. In the most ancient truths of life, spirit, and form, the Vesica Piscis has long been symbolized that in-between realm where the heaven meets earth. It's where the core realms were connected in the organic and original architecture. It's a gateway through which consciousness itself emerges. But what I was shown in the dream, the two must also then evolve to three. The opening up to the blossoming into this Trinity is imperative, and this is part of this original and organic creation energies that are being reclaimed. And so if we think about this for a moment, the principle of one becoming two and then two becoming three, creating something new then creates 10,000 and more. There are a lot of ancient manuscripts and texts and such that speak on this exactly. And I've spoken in other videos on the Chun Byu Kyung. Now, this is an ancient Korean scripture that has 81 characters. Now, those 81 characters are interesting because from what I have gathered, the characters are spanning different ancient Asian cultures. So not just Korean, but these 81 characters, what they represent are the laws of the cosmos and the principles of creation, evolution, and completion. It's really beautiful if you want to explore that. But this concept is written into many cultures as wisdom of the old. Here on earth, you're born through your mother, and that mirrors the same concept of the cosmic womb that births all celestial beings. This is how stars and galaxies and the human sacred form and all the other forms of life, the animals, etc. This is following a sacred pattern. And this is the fundamental template of how the divine creates in this 1, 2, 3, which then creates thousands upon thousands more. The Vesica Piscis became this symbol to be known as Christ. But when you fully dive into the meaning within ancient texts, like the Gospel of Thomas, that is part of the Nag Hammadi library. If you want to go explore that, it states, when the two become one and the inner as the outer, then shall you enter the kingdom. This is the first key, the recognition that unity emerges from an apparent duality, because the duality means two, but they're complementary with each other. This is, of course, the concept behind the yin and yang. But the Vesica Piscis holds this concept of the sacred marriage, the divine union that births new consciousness through this primal code of original and organic creation. The Chalice Well, also known as the Red Spring in Glastonbury, Somerset, England, is deeply connected to the heart womb of creation. And that energy of mother that expands when you're near that, it's not something I can put into words, but it brought me to tears. And it was absolutely phenomenal. So that is being mirrored into the earth, as you can see. And this crop circle birthed May 18th, 2025 in the lands of Albion. There's an alchemical flowering that's happening. So that fixing, the movement held within the sacred geometric figure, the original geometry birthing in new ways. So that alchemical flowering, if we will, really changes everything when we begin to add, which we will see form, but it's flowering into the third circle. And when you add that third circle, that's when we begin to witness a pattern of the cosmic evolution itself. The Vesica Piscis blossoms into a trinity form. This is related to the triple goddess aspect coming back online. It's living creation code. These crop circles are speaking to this very thing happening. When that sacred geometric Vesica Piscis forms into a trinity, when it unfolds, the proper evolution of the sacred architectural codes, what we can see is that there's profundity in the Celtic and Druid symbology, and that lineage's symbology, which is, by the way, the lineage and the seeing that I peer through. What was brought up for me is the triquetra. So that's the Trinity knot, and it's a Celtic symbol. And what this visually represents is this concept of the Trinity unfolded from the foundational Vesica Piscis shape. And the Celtic Druid lineage symbology is really about organic architecture codes, because that lineage is about the Grail holders, the keepers of Grail wisdom, because Grail wisdom are the architectural codes. They define the rhythm of the original and organic creation process itself. And so this trinity represents the arc of consciousness, evolution of consciousness, from singular source or one, through embodiment and experience, the two, into conscious union and transcendence, which is three. And that is what is happening. And for those of us as part of the lineage of the rose, we're called into that, and we innately know. This trinity we know includes the sacred feminine as that forgotten third aspect, since we've been separated via the patriarchal religions and all of that. But what has been coined as Sophia, or as wisdom itself. So this is the time of the restoration of the Christed Sophia consciousness, the recognition that the divine is not complete without the feminine. And that doesn't exactly mean female, but obviously we can see that very much reflected in the way that our realm operates. It does also include bringing the female back into an equal space. And this serves as the sacred energetic principle, as the third, as the trinity, as part of the oneness, the unified whole. The ancient wisdom that many of us that are part of the Celtic Druid lineage, we carry these codes in our DNA. In the Druid teachings, and I'm speaking of the original true Druids, not the distorted lines that wanted to eradicate the original and organic wisdom and lineage. So the true original lineage of the Celtic Druids. Besides the Trinity knot is the Awen that connects into this blossoming of the Trinity. The Awen stands for three words: truth, nature, and knowledge. And Awen is surrounded by three circles representing the cyclical and timeless nature of these trinities. And these three circles expand to represent the three circles of creation, the original architectural codes, the three divisions. We've said mind, body, spirit, but there's other interpretations like underworld, middle world, upper world. So there's the number 3, as we well know, it's been woven into primordial wisdom teachings for a reason. The organic solar calendar celebrations, through that Celtic angle, the wheel of the year, your honoring is the sky, land, and sea. The sacred festivals, also looking at this maiden, mother, crone aspects of the divine feminine, that triple goddess aspect. So the wisdom teaching spoke of the power of 3, and that moves through all of organic and original creation. It wasn't just about myths or philosophy, but we're really talking about the architectural codes. Why this Trinity concept is so crucial for what's happening in this time right now. Our reality has existed, we could say, in a Trinity form, the Earth, Terra, and Gaia, each having a higher vibrational experience. This ability to grow through duality into a Trinity isn't a cosmic theory or myth, but it's actually a template for rebuilding energetic structures of the realms. Birthing is also connected to the blue ray, the blueprint, the feminine aspect, to bring this balance back, regaining what was lost, re-imprinting the living blueprint of how consciousness evolves through dimensional experiences, allowing this to happen once again and to kickstart things back into the 0 point, which means it's like a start over point, essentially, of where then progress can be tracked and allowed to restore the original organic way. It's mending what was deficient, mending what was imbalanced. Now, here's the really beautiful part. Many of us are here to anchor these codes, and you know who you are. We feel that. And in transition from the separation consciousness into this unity consciousness, which again we can say is Christ, we are anchoring it through our individual consciousness. So this concept of this Christed Sophia lineage, restoring this cosmic mother through the remembrance and anchoring of the blue ray of creation into this realm. And what this means is that we are grail holders via the very DNA. And this is where the grail codes are held. This is men and women. This is sisterhood and a brotherhood, a family that has always been called different names. But we hold the original coding of creation itself and are the pieces of the whole architecture that have been protected for eons by countless souls who sacrificed so much to keep this wisdom alive. And at the heart of this, the Trinity, the Triquetra, the Albion, all of these symbolic codes live in the template for what we are calling, what has been called, this sacred marriage, this Hyros Gamos, the feminine aspect of the Christ as a unified consciousness, birthing new consciousness, a balanced humanity, a balanced realm. Daniel Holman created this image years ago. I have it on notebooks like the one I'm holding in my hand because I found it to be so powerful. The cool part is this is being mirrored in the codes that are coming through the crop circles. That is just so awesome. And when we really feel what that means and what that vibration holds, Daniel has some amazing art. So please do go check his work out. The sacred marriage, that union, it's not just about external relationships, though that's absolutely a part of it for those that hold that 144,000 archetype within here. And I'll get to that another time. But what I want to talk about in this moment is the internal integration of our own masculine and feminine energies, rebalancing the split between spirit and matter from separation to unity, igniting that connection between heaven and earth, because the sacred feminine and the masculine reuniting, and what this does within our own beings as that happens, how it happens in the collective light body. So the Christ at heart holding this sacred compassion and this Sophianic womb carrying deep wisdom. and the holy breath that animates all of life. And when we anchor this into our consciousness within ourselves, we become the living temples. And this is how we become the bridges between the worlds, and we become the very embodiment of the Sacred Mother's womb, giving birth to the feminine through this consciousness, the Christ consciousness in form. And that's an alchemical process, because that Trinity represents not just a philosophy, this is the mechanics of how consciousness blossoms, how it evolves. From one comes two, then comes three. What we're going to see happening is this experience and exploration into that unified third, that three. And that's where the magic, from my perspective, happens, because it's coherence instead of conflict. There's something that's born from that. From that three, it returns us back into this one. It becomes a unity, and it includes and transcends. So this pattern is found everywhere in the ancient wisdom traditions, and it is an initiation of that inner Christ, this golden triangle of light behind the head, the Bindu Visarga, which I discuss in depth in the video I mentioned before. We can see it happening in the lands, and this is amazing. But how do we live this? How do we embody this format of this blossoming in our daily lives? When we share our experiences, we can begin to see how it's unfolding for each of us. So connection really is the most powerful way. The Sacred Mother's womb lives within us. And that space where the infinite potential resides, that creative force that can birth new realities, that's not separate from us. We are the living expressions of sacred geometry. And when we meditate, when we sit with the Vesica Piscis, when we feel it blossoming, adding that Trinity notion, we can align with that pattern of cosmic creation itself. Blossoming into the three, what we begin to work with the fundamental codes of the universe and that organic and original creation patterning. The other aspect of this is when we're honoring both of our inner masculine and feminine energies. When we bring them together and allow to dance in sacred union, what we're doing is birthing new possibilities. Now, this does require work, though. This requires a lot of cleansing in all ways. So it is work to cleanse and purify. There is no doubt about that. But that is what allows us to reclaim the vital life force, which is where that clarity, where that power, and where those truths reside. And by being here together in this area, even just in internet land, we can recognize other souls as part of our cosmic family. We can feel each other's presence, and especially those of us that are carrying these codes, we begin to create a new reality together. And what I feel is absolutely magnificent about this time that we're living in right now, amongst and amidst all of the obvious challenges. This is all rising to ensure that this organic and original timeline is held, meaning it is anchored, it is strong, it is protected, it is protected. And the planetary awakening that's occurring right now is helping to do that, in as much as we are as well, following that exact pattern of protection. And that's vital. Our Earth is moving through its own Trinity initiation as a celestial being once again. And we are also. And we are being held in that space. So as the codes of protection ignite, we also do the same for ourselves. Protecting our birthright of sovereignty of our own brains, our own souls, our bodies. That is another vital aspect to this. Anything that is organic and pure is allowed into the temple. Now, this golden dragon, the creation dragon energies that are awakening, the solar dragon, they're taking their rightful places as well. So the sacred towers, as I was shown when I was in Avebury Henge in 2023, the sacred towers, this organic element restoring, and the consciousness of the guardian protectors, and all of this connection into King Arthur, Queen Guinevere, Yeshua, and Miriam of Magdala. Those timelines are being resurrected in the energy fields too. And those of us who feel it, we know it. So we hold it. And we cannot be swayed when we hold that powerfully within our beings. And the cosmic mother's womb of creation within the Albion and region of the energetic body is absolutely awakening more and more and more. So no thing can stop the return of the original creation blueprint. And well, if you've stayed with me this far, then your heart is singing in recognition of this too. And of course, we're part of this together. And your very existence is proof, literally proof, that the cosmic mother, of course, has not abandoned this realm. We are here to anchor it. And your awakening is evidence that the feminine Christ consciousness, if we will, other ways to say that, but that is returning. And sharing that through our lens is also powerful. So your willingness to remember, to embody, to anchor these frequencies is how this Trinity pattern completes itself through you. Will be seen this anchored into the very architecture itself. So the sacred mother's womb was all of our birthright, and the Trinity consciousness is the natural state of being. That unified Christ consciousness potentiality is everyone's potential. So every time you choose love over fear, unity over separation, wisdom over ignorance, you are living this in the now. Every time you honor your strength and your softness, your power and your compassion, that is embodying that sacred marriage within you. Each time that you trust the creative force within you to birth something so beautiful, you are activating all of this from within. These are the actions and the recognitions. And we are all held by the same geometric patterns that births the stars and galaxies. So know that we are part of a great cosmic family that's been working and planning to restore this realm to its original beauty and harmony. I hope this helps you awaken more of your sacred mission in your own magic, and to help you remember the divine spirit that you are. Save this video to refer back to it when you need the reminders, and share it with others who are remembering in their divine spirit, because it's together that we are awakening original creation magic. Thank you so much for being here.